Hey son, the coffee percolator's bubbling on the counter. Your neighbor's backing his Chevrolet down the driveway. Somewhere down the street, a screen door slaps shut. Tonight, we settle into something slower than your smartphone, quieter than your commute, and a whole lot stranger than you remember. Life in 1950s America. This is the decade your grandparents never quite stopped talking about. The one that shows up in every diner aesthetic and vintage ad. The era that somehow feels both impossibly distant and oddly familiar. But here is the thing nobody mentions. It was weirder than the nostalgia lets on. Before we go any further, if you are finding value in these deep dives into the past, take a second to like this video and subscribe. No pressure, just if it feels right. And we are now on Spotify too, so if you prefer to listen there while you are driving or drifting off, the link is in the description. Drop a comment and let me know where you are watching from and what time it is. I love seeing who is tuning in from across the world and across the clock. Now, picture this. What did a Tuesday morning feel like when milk was delivered to your door in glass bottles? How did people decide what to wear when the only fashion advice came from the Sears catalog? What did you do on a Saturday night when there were 3 channels on television and they all signed off at midnight? How did anyone survive a summer without air conditioning? And what exactly was everyone doing at the malt shop for 3 hours straight? It is 1955 now. The record player spins. The neighbor is mowing his lawn in dress shoes. A Studebaker hums past your window. And everything is about to make sense. Let us start with the morning, before the sun has burned off the dew, when the neighborhood is still deciding whether to wake up. You hear it first, the hum of the milk truck, that low rumble rolling down the empty street like clockwork. By the time you open your eyes, the glass bottles are already sitting on your porch, cold and sweating in the early light. The milkman has already come and gone. He knows your order by heart. 2 quarts of whole milk, 1 pint of cream on Thursdays for your mother's coffee cake. He does not knock. He does not ring the bell. He simply leaves the bottles in the metal box by the door, takes the empties from yesterday, and moves on to the next house. The entire transaction happens in silence, in the dark, while you are still asleep. The bottles are thick glass, heavy in your hand, with a cardboard cap that you pry off with your thumb. The cream rises to the top overnight, forming a thick layer you have to shake back down into the milk. It is rich, almost sweet, nothing like the thin skim milk that comes in plastic jugs now. If you pour it too fast, it glugs. If you are not careful, it spills. You carry the bottles inside and put them in the refrigerator, which is smaller than the one you have now, and makes a low humming sound that never quite stops. Your mother will use 1 bottle today, some for breakfast, some for your father's coffee, some for the mashed potatoes at dinner. The second bottle will go in the back, saved for tomorrow or the day after. Nothing gets wasted. Nothing goes bad. The milk is delivered fresh 3 times a week, and the rhythm of it structures everything else. There is something reassuring about it. The milk arrives whether you remember to order it or not. The milkman knows. He has been doing this route for 11 years. He knows when your family goes on vacation, because the bottles start piling up. He knows when someone is sick, because your mother leaves a note asking for an extra quart. It is a small kindness, barely spoken, but it is there. If you forget to leave the empties out, he will knock, gently, and wait. Your mother will come to the door in her housecoat, apologizing, and hand him the bottles from yesterday. He will tip his hat and say it is no trouble at all, and then he will be gone, back to the truck, onto the next house. This is a version of convenience that does not feel anything like convenience now. You do not order it on an app. You do not choose a delivery window. You do not get a text when it arrives. It simply happens. The same way the sun comes up, the same way the newspaper lands on the driveway. You trust it because it has never failed. By the time you sit down for breakfast, the milk is already on the table. Your father pours it over his cornflakes without looking. Your mother adds it to the oatmeal she is stirring on the stove. You drink it straight from a juice glass, cold and thick and faintly sweet. And somewhere down the street, the milk truck is still humming, still stopping, still leaving bottles on porches for families who will wake up and find them there, just like they did yesterday, just like they will tomorrow. It is the kind of ordinary magic that disappears so quietly you do not even notice. It is gone until you are standing in a grocery store decades later, staring at a gallon jug of milk in a refrigerated case, trying to remember what that glass bottle felt like in your hand. Your closet in 1955 does not require much decision-making. You have exactly 7 outfits, maybe 8 if you count the church clothes you never wear anywhere else. Everything is ironed, starched, and hung in the same order it was yesterday. Getting dressed is not an act of self-expression. It is an act of appropriateness. You dress for the day you are about to have, and the day you are about to have looks almost identical to the day you had yesterday. If it is a weekday, you wear school clothes. If it is Saturday, you wear play clothes. If it is Sunday, you wear church clothes. There is no crossover. There is no casual Friday. There are rules, and everybody follows them. For boys, that means trousers with a crease ironed down the front, a button-up shirt, and a belt. No jeans unless you are working in the yard or playing in the dirt. No t-shirts unless you are wearing them under something else. And absolutely no sneakers unless you are in gym class. You wear leather shoes, hard-soled, stiff, the kind that take 3 weeks to break in and leave blisters on your heels until they do. For girls, it means a dress or a skirt, every single day. Pants are not an option. Even in winter, even in snow, you wear a dress with thick tights underneath and hope the wool does not make your legs itch too badly. Your mother checks your hem before you leave the house. If it is too short, you change. If it is wrinkled, you change. If there is a stain the size of a dime on the collar, you change. Everything is pressed. Your mother irons on Tuesday afternoons, standing at the board in the kitchen with the radio playing softly, working through a basket of clothes that never seems to get smaller. She irons your father's work shirts with military precision. Collars first, then cuffs, then the body of the shirt in smooth, careful strokes. She irons your school dresses, your brother's trousers, the pillowcases, the dish towels. She irons things you did not know could be ironed. You do not choose your outfit the night before. You do not stand in front of the mirror, trying on 6 different combinations. You open the closet, you take out the next thing in line, and you put it on. It fits because your mother bought it 1 size too big, and you have been growing into it for the past 4 months. The sleeves are still a little long, the waist is still a little loose, but it will do. There are no brand names, no logos, nothing that signals where you bought it or how much it cost. Your dress looks like every other girl's dress at school, same cut, same length, same general shape. Maybe yours is blue and hers is green, but that is the only difference. You are not trying to stand out. You are trying to fit in. And fitting in means looking like everyone else. Your shoes are polished every Sunday night. Your father does it, sitting on the back step with a tin of black polish and a rag, working the leather in slow, deliberate circles until it shines. You do not wear scuffed shoes. You do not wear dirty shoes. You wear shoes that look like you take care of your things, because that is what people notice. Getting dressed takes 5 minutes, maybe 10 if you are slow. There is no full-length mirror in your bedroom, just the small one above your dresser where you check your face and comb your hair. You do not take a picture. You do not ask anyone if the outfit works. You simply get dressed, and then you go downstairs, and your mother glances at you as you walk past. And if she does not say anything, it means you did it right. It is a kind of simplicity that feels almost impossible now. Not because the clothes were simpler, but because the choices were. You wore what you had, and what you had was enough. Breakfast is not optional, and it certainly is not grabbed on the go. You sit. Everyone sits. Your mother is at the stove, your father is reading the paper with his elbows on the table, and the radio is murmuring softly in the background. The kitchen smells like butter and toast and percolating coffee. Your mother has been up for 30 minutes already, moving through the morning routine she has perfected over years of practice. The bacon is frying in the cast iron skillet, popping and hissing as she turns it with a fork. The eggs are waiting in a bowl on the counter, ready to be scrambled the moment your father folds his newspaper and announces he is ready to eat. You do not pour your own cereal. You do not grab a granola bar and run out the door. You sit down at your assigned seat, the same seat you have had since you were tall enough to reach the table, and you wait. Your brother sits across from you, still half asleep, his hair sticking up in the back. Your father is at the head of the table, his coffee already poured, his paper already open to the front page. The plates come out one at a time. Toast first, still warm from the oven, sliced thick and slathered with butter that melts into the bread before you can even pick it up. Then the bacon, arranged on a plate lined with a paper towel to catch the grease. Then the eggs, scrambled soft and pale yellow, still steaming from the pan. Your mother serves your father first, then you, then your brother, then herself. She does not sit down until everyone else has food in front of them. There is no television in the kitchen, no phones, no distractions, just the sound of forks scraping against plates, the low murmur of the radio playing news and weather, and your father occasionally reading aloud from the paper. Something about Eisenhower, something about the price of steel, something your mother responds to with a soft hum of acknowledgement. You drink orange juice from a small glass, fresh squeezed if it is a weekend, canned if it is a weekday. The taste is sharp and bright, nothing like the concentrate that will come later, nothing like the stuff in the carton that tastes faintly of plastic. You drink milk, too, poured cold from the glass bottle the milkman left on the porch an hour ago. It is thick and rich and leaves a faint mustache on your upper lip that you wipe away with the back of your hand. Breakfast takes 20 minutes, maybe 30 if your father is deep into an article and your mother is taking her time with her coffee. Nobody rushes. Nobody checks the clock. The meal is a marker, a boundary between sleep and the rest of the day, and it is treated with a kind of quiet reverence. Your mother clears the plates as soon as you finish. She scrapes the leftovers into the scrap bowl for the dog, stacks the dishes in the sink, and wipes down the table with a damp cloth. Your father folds the paper, tucks it under his arm, and heads out the door to work. Your brother grabs his school books from the chair where he left them last night. You stand up, push your chair back in, and grab your coat from the hook by the door. By 7:30, the kitchen is empty again. The dishes are soaking in soapy water. The skillet is cooling on the stove. The radio is still playing, soft and low, to no one in particular. And your mother is already thinking about lunch. It is a rhythm so steady, so predictable, that it feels less like a routine and more like a heartbeat. The same every morning, the same every day. And nobody questions it, because this is simply what breakfast is. 7:30 in the morning and you are out the door. No carpool, no parent escort, no GPS tracker tucked into your backpack. You walk, alone, 6 blocks, and nobody thinks twice about it. Your mother watches from the porch as you head down the sidewalk, your school book strapped together with a belt, your lunch sack folded at the top and tucked under your arm. She does not follow you. She does not call after you with last-minute instructions. She simply waves once, and then she goes back inside. By the time you reach the corner, she is already at the sink, washing the breakfast dishes. The route is the same every day. Down your street, past the Henderson's house with the tall hedge, left at the stop sign, past the corner store that smells like cigarettes and newsprint, straight for 3 blocks, then right at the school crossing. You know every crack in the sidewalk, every house with a dog that barks, every tree worth climbing if you had the time. You are not the only one walking. There are kids everywhere, streaming out of houses, calling to each other from across the street, forming small clusters that move in the same direction like schools of fish. Some of them are your age, some are older, some are younger, first graders holding hands with their siblings, taking careful steps and looking both ways at every corner. Nobody is in a hurry. There is no bell countdown, no panic about being late. School starts at 8:15, and you will get there at 8:10, the same as always. If you run into a friend along the way, you slow down and walk together. If you find a good stick, you pick it up and drag it along the fence as you go, listening to the rattling rhythm it makes against the pickets. The crossing guard is already at her post by the time you reach the intersection. She is an older woman with a whistle around her neck and a bright orange sash across her chest. She knows you by name. She knows everyone by name. She holds up her stop sign, steps into the street, and waves you across. You say good morning. She says good morning back. This happens every single day, and it never gets old. There are no parents idling in cars. No one is circling the block looking for parking. No one is running late and shouting out the window for you to hurry up. The only adults you see are the crossing guard, the mailman making his rounds, and the occasional neighbor watering the lawn. Everyone else is already at work, already inside, already going about their day. You are 7 years old and you are responsible for getting yourself to school. It is not a test of independence. It is simply expected. You know the route. You know the rules. You look both ways before you cross. You do not talk to strangers. You do not take shortcuts through alleys. You walk on the sidewalk, not in the street. And if something goes wrong, you go to the nearest house and ask for help. That is it. That is the entire safety plan. By the time you reach the school playground, there are dozens of other kids already there, playing tetherball, trading baseball cards, sitting on the steps comparing lunch sacks. You join them, dropping your books by the fence and running straight for the monkey bars. The bell will ring in 5 minutes. But for now, you are just a kid on a playground, having walked 6 blocks alone to get here. And that is the most normal thing in the world. Your mother will not see you again until 3:15. When you walk back through the front door, drop your books on the table, and ask what is for dinner. She will not call the school to check if you arrived. She will not worry. She will simply assume you did what you were supposed to do, because that is what 7-year-olds do in 1955. They walk to school, alone, and they make it there just fine. You cannot text your friend to see if they are home. You cannot call from your pocket. If you want to talk, you walk to the kitchen, you pick up the heavy receiver, and you dial. And if someone else is using the party line, you wait. The telephone is black, heavy as a brick, and bolted to the wall next to the refrigerator. The receiver is connected by a coiled cord that stretches about 3 feet if you are lucky, which means there is no such thing as a private phone call. You stand in the kitchen. Your mother is 10 feet away folding laundry. Your brother is at the table, eating a sandwich. Everyone can hear everything you say. The dial is a rotary, and it takes genuine effort to use. You stick your finger in the hole above the number, drag it clockwise until it hits the metal stop, then let it spin back. Each number takes a full second. A 7-digit phone number takes 7 seconds to dial. If you mess up halfway through, you have to hang up and start over. There is no redial button. There is no speed dial. There is just you, the phone, and your patience. Your family shares a party line with 3 other households. That means the same telephone line runs into 4 different houses, and only one person can use it at a time. If you pick up the phone and hear voices, you hang up immediately. You do not listen in. Or rather, you are not supposed to listen in. But sometimes you do, just for a second, just long enough to figure out if it is the Johnsons or the Martins, and then you hang up softly and wait your turn. If you need to make a call, you check first. You pick up the receiver, slowly, carefully, and you listen. If the line is silent, it is yours. If someone is talking, you hang up and wait 5 minutes. If the line is still busy after 5 minutes, you wait another 5. If it is busy after that, you start to wonder if Mrs. Henderson is ever going to stop talking about her garden club, and you resign yourself to waiting until after dinner. There is no voicemail, no missed calls, no call waiting. If someone tries to call you while you are on the phone, they get a busy signal. They hang up. They try again later. Maybe they try 3 or 4 times over the course of an hour. Maybe they give up and just walk over to your house instead. Communication takes effort. It takes intention. You do not call someone unless you have something to say. Long-distance calls are expensive. So expensive that your mother makes you write down what you are going to say before she lets you call your grandmother in Ohio. You stand there with a piece of paper, rehearsing your sentences, and when she finally dials the number and hands you the receiver, you talk fast. You do not ramble. You do not pause to think. You say what you came to say. You ask how everyone is doing, and then you say goodbye. The whole call lasts 3 minutes. Your mother watches the clock the entire time. Local calls are free, but that does not mean you can tie up the line all afternoon. Your mother has rules. No calls during dinner. No calls after 8 o'clock. No calls longer than 10 minutes unless it is important. And if someone else in the house needs to use the phone, you wrap it up. No arguments, no negotiations. You just say goodbye and hang up. The phone rings and everyone stops what they are doing. Your mother wipes her hands on her apron and walks to the kitchen. She picks up the receiver and says hello, her voice bright and pleasant, because you never know who is calling. It could be your father, calling from work to say he will be late. It could be the school nurse, calling to say your brother is sick. It could be a neighbor, calling to ask if your mother has an extra cup of sugar. Or it could be a wrong number, in which case she says sorry, no problem, and hangs up. You do not call your friend to chat. You call to make a plan. You call to confirm a time. You call to say you are on your way. And then you hang up and you go. The phone is a tool, not a companion. It sits on the wall, silent most of the day, waiting for the next person who needs it. Downtown is where you go for everything, not the mall, not online. Downtown. It is a Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon and your mother has errands. You walk into town together, or you take the bus if downtown is too far to walk. Your mother carries her purse, black leather, heavy with coins and folded bills, and a compact mirror she checks when she thinks no one is looking. You carry nothing except the list she handed you before you left the house. Milk from the dairy, thread from the 5 and dime, a birthday card from the stationery store. 3 stops, maybe 4, all within 2 blocks of each other. Downtown is not a destination. It is a system. Every store has a purpose, and every purpose has a store. You do not go to one big building and find everything inside. You go to the butcher for meat, the baker for bread, the pharmacy for aspirin, and the hardware store for light bulbs. Each one is independently owned. Each one has a name on the window and a bell that jingles when you walk in. The streets are busy but not crowded. Women in dresses and heels, men in suits and hats, children in school clothes holding their mothers' hands. Everyone is moving with intention. No one is window shopping. No one is browsing. You go to town because you need something. And when you get it, you leave. Your mother stops at the butcher first. The shop smells like sawdust and cold meat and something faintly metallic you cannot quite name. The butcher is a large man with a white apron stained pink. He knows your mother by name. He asks how your father is doing. He suggests a cut of beef that is on special this week. Your mother considers it, nods, and asks for 2 pounds. He wraps it in white paper, ties it with string, and writes the price on the package in grease pencil. Next is the 5 and dime, where the aisles are narrow and the shelves go all the way to the ceiling. Your mother finds the thread she needs, a spool of navy blue to match the skirt she is hemming. She picks up a package of bobby pins while she is there, and a bar of soap, and a new dish towel, because you never go to the 5 and dime for just one thing. You wander the toy aisle while she is at the register, looking at the cap guns and the model airplanes and the jump ropes hanging from hooks on the wall. The stationery store is quiet and smells like paper and ink. Your mother flips through the birthday cards, reading each one carefully before choosing a design with flowers on the front. She does not buy a dozen cards to keep at home. She buys one card for one birthday, and that is it. The woman behind the counter wraps it in tissue paper and slides it into a small bag. Your mother pays in cash. She always pays in cash. There is no rushing. No one honks if your mother stops to chat with a neighbor on the sidewalk. No one taps their foot if she takes an extra minute to decide between 2 different colors of thread. The pace of downtown is the pace of people, not cars. You cross the street mid-block without looking for a crosswalk. You stop to let someone pass. You hold the door open for the person behind you. By the time you are done, it has been an hour and a half, maybe 2. Your mother has everything she came for, folded into a canvas shopping bag she brought from home. You walk back the way you came, past the same stores, the same faces, the same storefronts you see every week. And when you get home, your mother unpacks the bag on the kitchen counter, puts everything in its place, and starts thinking about what she will need next time. Downtown is not charming. It is not quaint. It is simply where things are. And every week, like clockwork, you go there, you get what you need, and you come home. 4:15 in the afternoon, and you hear the slap of folded newsprint hitting the driveway. That sound means the paper has arrived, and with it, the news of the world delivered by a 12-year-old on a bicycle. The paper boy has been riding this route for 8 months. He knows every house, every driveway, every porch. He knows which dogs bark and which ones just watch. He knows which houses want the paper on the step and which ones want it by the front door. He does not knock. He does not ring the bell. He just rides past, his bike wobbling slightly as he twists his body to throw, and the paper lands with a satisfying thwack against the concrete. You hear it from inside the house. So does your father. He is home from work now, jacket off, tie loosened, shoes left by the door. The sound of the paper hitting the driveway is his signal. He stands up from his chair, walks outside in his socks, and bends down to pick it up. It is still warm from sitting in the delivery bag. It is folded in thirds and held together with a rubber band. He carries it back inside and settles into his chair by the window. The rubber band snaps off with a soft pop. He unfolds the paper with both hands, shaking it once to straighten the pages, and then he begins to read. Front page first, local news second, sports last. He does not skim. He does not scroll. He reads every word, column by column, page by page. Your mother does not read the paper until after dinner. She will take the sections your father has already finished, fold them in half and read while she drinks her evening coffee. She reads the society pages, the recipes, the advice column. She clips coupons with a pair of kitchen shears and sets them aside in a small basket by the telephone. If there is an article about someone she knows, she will read it aloud to your father, who will nod and make a comment without looking up from his own section. The paper boy collects payment every Saturday morning. He knocks on the door with a small leather pouch slung over his shoulder and a receipt book in his hand. Your mother invites him in, just to the entryway, and she pays him for the week. $2.50. She hands him 3 singles and tells him to keep the change. He writes her a receipt in careful handwriting, tears it from the book, and hands it to her. Then he thanks her, tips his cap, and moves on to the next house. He is saving for a new bicycle. The one he is riding now is too small, a hand-me-down from his older brother, and the chain slips every time he hits a bump. He has been delivering papers for 8 months, and in another 4 he will have enough. He keeps the money in a coffee can under his bed. Every Saturday after he finishes collections, he counts it. Every week, it gets a little closer. Some afternoons, the paper does not land on the driveway. It lands in the bushes, or on the roof, or in the flower bed, where your mother will find it the next morning, soggy with dew. When that happens, your father walks outside, peers around, and eventually spots it. He does not complain. He does not call anyone. He just retrieves it, brushes off the dirt, and reads it anyway. On Sundays, the paper is thicker, so thick the paper boy can barely throw it. It lands with a heavy thud, and your father has to carry it inside with both hands. The Sunday paper is an event. It takes up the entire kitchen table. Your father reads the front section. Your mother reads the magazine. You read the comics, sprawled on the living room floor, the colored pages spread out around you like a blanket. The news in the paper is not instant. It is not live. It is not scrolling across a screen in real time. It is yesterday's news, or this morning's news, printed on paper and delivered by a boy on a bike. And that is enough. Because the world moves slower in 1955. And the news, like everything else, can wait until 4:15. The drugstore is not just for prescriptions. It is for cherry cokes. It is for meeting someone after school. It is for sitting on a spinning stool and watching the soda jerk flip a steel cup under the tap. The drugstore sits on the corner of Main and 3rd, next to the bank and across from the hardware store. It has been there for 30 years, and it will be there for 30 more. The front windows are tall and clean, with hand-painted letters advertising ice cream sodas and malted milk and fountain service. You push through the glass door, and a bell jingles above your head. The soda fountain runs along the left side of the store, a long marble counter with chrome stools bolted to the floor. The stools spin all the way around if you kick your feet hard enough, and the seats are padded with red vinyl that is cracked in places from years of use. Behind the counter, the soda jerk is already at work, wiping down the marble with a damp rag and restocking the straws in the metal dispenser. You sit down, and the stool squeaks under your weight. The soda jerk glances up, nods, and asks what you want. You order a cherry Coke. He does not write it down. He just turns around, grabs a glass from the stack, and gets to work. First, the syrup. He pumps the handle twice, and a thick ribbon of red pours into the bottom of the glass. Then the ice, scooped from the bin with a chrome scoop and dropped in with a satisfying clink. Then the soda water, dispensed from a tall tap that hisses and foams as it fills the glass. He stirs it once with a long metal spoon, wipes the outside of the glass with his rag, and sets it on the counter in front of you. A paper straw goes in last, still wrapped, and he slides it across the counter without a word. You unwrap the straw, push it through the ice, and take a sip. The syrup is sweeter than anything you will taste in the next 50 years. The carbonation burns the back of your throat in the best way. The ice is already melting, diluting the Coke just enough to make it last. You drink slowly, spinning on your stool, watching the door to see if anyone you know comes in. The drugstore is where everyone ends up eventually. Your classmates come in after school, scraping together nickels and dimes for ice cream sodas. Your mother comes in to pick up her prescription and stays for a cup of coffee. Your father comes in on Saturday mornings to buy the newspaper and ends up sitting at the counter, talking to the pharmacist about the weather. There is a whole menu printed on a card wedged between the napkin dispenser and the sugar shaker. Milkshakes, malts, floats, sundaes, phosphates, egg creams. The prices are written in faded ink. A Coke costs 10 cents. A malt costs 20. A banana split costs 35, and it comes in a glass boat with 3 scoops of ice cream, whipped cream, nuts, and a cherry on top. You have never ordered one, but you have watched other people eat them, and someday, when you have 35 cents all at once, you will. The pharmacist works in the back, behind a tall wooden counter with shelves that reach the ceiling. You can see him through the opening, counting pills into a small amber bottle, writing instructions on a label in careful handwriting. When someone comes in with a prescription, he takes his time. He reads the slip twice. He asks if there are any allergies. He explains how to take the medicine, how often, with food or without. He hands the bottle across the counter and tells them to feel better. There is no rush. There is no drive-through window. There is just the pharmacist, doing his job the way he has done it for 20 years. The soda fountain closes at 6. By 5:30, the stools are empty, the counter is wiped down, and the soda jerk is restocking the syrup pumps for tomorrow. You finish your Coke, leave your dime on the counter, and head for the door. The bell jingles as you leave. The soda jerk waves without looking up. And tomorrow, if you have another dime, you will come back and do it all over again. Dinner time is not a suggestion. It is 6 o'clock, and you are at the table. Not in your room, not in front of the television, at the table, with everyone. Your mother has been cooking since 4:30. You can smell it from the front yard when you come home. Pot roast or meatloaf or chicken and dumplings. Something that has been simmering or roasting or bubbling on the stove for the past hour and a half. By the time you walk in the door, the table is already set. 4 plates, 4 forks, 4 knives, 4 napkins folded into triangles. A bowl of mashed potatoes in the center, steam still rising. A plate of buttered rolls wrapped in a dish towel to keep them warm. Your father is already in his seat. He has washed his hands, changed out of his work clothes, and settled into the chair at the head of the table. He does not start eating until everyone is seated. That is the rule. Your mother brings the roast to the table on a platter, sets it down carefully, and finally takes her own seat. Your brother is last, sliding into his chair just as your father picks up the carving knife. Nobody serves themselves. Your father carves the meat, slicing it thin and laying the pieces on each plate. Your mother passes the potatoes, the green beans, the rolls. You do not take more than your share. You do not complain about what is on your plate. You eat what you are given, and you do not leave the table until you are finished. The television is off. The radio is off. The only sounds are the scrape of silverware against plates, the soft clink of a water glass being set back down, and the occasional comment from your father about his day at work. Your mother asks if anyone wants more potatoes. Your brother says yes. You say no, thank you. Your father talks about a project he is working on, something about blueprints and deadlines, and your mother nods and makes small affirming sounds while she cuts her meat into careful, even pieces. There are no phone calls during dinner. If the phone rings, it goes unanswered. If someone knocks on the door, they wait. Dinner is a boundary, a sacred 30 minutes when the outside world does not intrude. You sit, you eat, you listen, and when you are finished, you do not get up until your father puts his napkin on the table and pushes his chair back. The meal is not fancy. It is plain, practical, designed to fill stomachs and use up what your mother bought at the butcher earlier in the week. Meat, potatoes, one vegetable, and bread. The same structure, night after night, with only the details changing. Monday is meatloaf. Tuesday is pork chops. Wednesday is chicken. Thursday is leftovers. Friday is fish, because that is what you eat on Fridays, even if your family is not Catholic, just because everyone else does. Your mother does not sit down and relax after dinner. She clears the plates while your father moves to his chair in the living room. She scrapes the leftovers into a glass dish, covers it with foil, and puts it in the refrigerator for tomorrow. She fills the sink with hot soapy water and washes each dish by hand, stacking them in the drying rack with a kind of quiet efficiency. You dry. Your brother puts them away. That is the routine. That is how it has always been. Dinner is not about enjoyment, exactly. It is about structure. It is about everyone being in the same place at the same time, eating the same food, participating in the same ritual. No one asks if you are hungry. No one asks what you want. You eat at 6 because that is when dinner is, and dinner is not negotiable. By 6:30 the dishes are done. The kitchen is clean. The leftovers are put away. And your family scatters back into the house. Your father to his chair. Your brother to his homework. You to whatever you were doing before the bell rang. But for that 1/2 hour, you were all together. At the table. The way it is supposed to be. Television is new enough that it still feels like magic. Strange enough that people argue about whether it is good for children, and limited enough that nobody binges anything. There are 3 channels, sometimes 4. The television sits in the living room, a large wooden console with a small glass screen in the center and 2 round knobs on the right side. One knob changes the channel, the other adjusts the volume. There is no remote. If you want to change the channel, you stand up, walk to the television, and turn the knob. Click, click, click. The channels move one at a time, and if you miss the one you want, you have to go all the way around again. The screen is black and white. Everything is black and white. The newscasters, the game shows, the sitcoms, the westerns. Even when the show is supposed to be in color, a field of grass, a blue sky, a red dress, it all comes through in shades of gray. Your family does not have a color television yet. No one on your street does. Color sets cost twice as much. And besides, there are only a few programs broadcast in color anyway. Why pay extra for something you cannot even use? The picture is not perfect. There are lines across the screen, a faint flicker, a kind of hum that never quite goes away. If a plane flies overhead, the picture wobbles. If someone turns on the vacuum cleaner, it fuzzes out entirely. Your father adjusts the antenna on the roof every few months, climbing up with a wrench and yelling down to your mother, who is standing by the television, calling out whether the picture is getting better or worse. Better. Worse. A little better. There. That is good. The channels are numbered, but they do not go in order. Channel 2 is CBS. Channel 4 is NBC. Channel 7 is ABC. There is no Channel 3, no Channel 5, no Channel 6. If you turn the knob past 7, you get static. Just static. A screen full of flickering gray and white snow, and a hiss that fills the living room until someone gets up and turns it off. Programming starts in the morning and ends at night. The stations do not broadcast 24 hours a day. They sign on at 6 in the morning with a national anthem and a test pattern, and they sign off at midnight the same way. If you stay up late enough, you will see it. The flag waving on the screen, the anthem playing through the tiny speaker, and then nothing. Just static. Until tomorrow. You do not choose what to watch. Your Father chooses. He is in his chair, and the television is in front of him. And whatever he wants to watch is what the family watches. If there is a baseball game, you watch the baseball game. If there is a Western, you watch the Western. If there is news, you sit quietly and wait for it to be over. Your mother does not argue. You do not ask to change the channel. This is simply how it is. The shows come on at specific times, and if you miss them, they are gone. There are no reruns. There is no recording. If you want to see your favorite program, you have to be in front of the television at exactly the right time. Lassie is on Sunday nights at 7. Ed Sullivan is on at 8. I Love Lucy is on Monday nights at 9. You know the schedule by heart because the schedule never changes. The commercials are long and slow, and they come in blocks. 4 minutes of ads, then 10 minutes of show, then 4 more minutes of ads. The same commercials play over and over until you can recite them from memory. A jingle for laundry detergent, a pitch for a new car, a smiling housewife holding up a can of soup. You do not skip them. You cannot skip them. You sit and watch, or you get up and leave the room. And when you come back, the show is starting again. Television is not background noise. When the television is on, everyone is watching it. Your father in his chair, your mother on the couch with her sewing, you and your brother on the floor, lying on your stomachs with your chins in your hands. Nobody is reading. Nobody is talking. The room is dark except for the glow of the screen, and everyone is quiet, watching the same flickering images together. At midnight, the station signs off. The national anthem plays one more time. The screen cuts to the test pattern, a circle of lines and numbers and a high-pitched tone that makes your ears ring. And then, nothing. Your father turns the knob, and the picture disappears. The room is dark. The house is quiet. And it will stay that way until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, when the station signs back on and the whole thing starts again. Friday night in 1955 does not mean Netflix. It means the roller rink, the drive-in movie, the high school football game, or the church social. Or it means staying home with your family and playing cards. The week has a rhythm, and Friday night is the release valve. Your father comes home from work at his usual time, but there is something different in the air. He is not tired the way he is on Wednesday. He is not already thinking about tomorrow. Friday night is untethered. It belongs to no one. And what you do with it depends entirely on who you are and what your family decides. If you are a teenager, Friday night means getting out of the house. You and your friends meet at the corner after dinner, already dressed in your good clothes, the ones you do not wear to school, the ones your mother ironed this morning and hung on the back of your door. The boys wear their hair slicked back with pomade. The girls wear lipstick they put on after they left the house and will wipe off before they come home. The roller rink is downtown in a building that used to be a warehouse and still smells faintly of machine oil underneath the popcorn and floor wax. You pay 50 cents at the door, rent a pair of skates for another quarter, and spend the next 3 hours circling the rink to the sound of records playing over scratchy speakers. The lights are dim except for the rotating disco ball someone installed last year. It throws spots of light across the floor that move in lazy circles, and everyone skates through them like they are chasing something they cannot quite catch. Or maybe you go to the football game. The whole town goes to the football game. The high school stadium is lit up like a stage, and the bleachers are packed with families wrapped in blankets, holding thermoses of coffee and paper bags of popcorn. The band plays during halftime. The cheerleaders spell out the school name with their bodies. Your father knows half the people in the stands and stops every 10 feet to shake hands and talk about the quarterback's arm or the new coach they hired last spring. If you are younger, or if your family does not go out much, Friday night happens at home. Your parents play cards with another couple from church. The adults sit around the kitchen table, smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee, playing hand after hand of pinochle or canasta. The games go on for hours. You and the other kids are sent to the living room to play quietly, which means you spend the evening lying on the floor, reading comic books, or building a fort out of couch cushions, listening to the rise and fall of adult voices and the shuffle of cards being dealt. Sometimes Friday night is the drive-in. Your whole family piles into the car, just as the sun is setting. Your mother brings a thermos of hot chocolate and a brown paper bag full of homemade popcorn. Your father pays at the gate, $1 per car, no matter how many people are inside, and drives slowly through the rows of speaker posts until he finds a spot near the middle. You and your brother climb into the back seat in your pajamas. Your father hooks the speaker onto the window and adjusts the volume. And then you wait. The sky fades from blue to purple to black, and the giant screen at the front flickers to life. The movie is always a double feature. The first one is for kids, something with cowboys or cartoons or a dog that saves the day. The second one is for adults, and by the time it starts, you are already asleep in the back seat, curled up under a blanket, the muffled voices from the speaker mixing with your dreams. Your father will carry you inside when you get home. You will wake up in your own bed, still in your pajamas, with no memory of the drive. Or maybe Friday night is simpler than all of that. Maybe it is just your family, sitting in the living room, playing a board game on the coffee table while the radio plays softly in the background. Maybe it is popcorn in a big metal bowl, passed around while everyone takes turns rolling dice and moving little wooden pieces across a cardboard path. Maybe it is your mother laughing at something your father said, and your brother accusing you of cheating, and the clock on the wall ticking past 9, past 10, and no one telling you to go to bed yet, because tomorrow is Saturday, and Saturday does not start until you wake up. Friday night is not planned weeks in advance. It is not coordinated through group texts. It is simply what happens when the week ends, and no one has to think about tomorrow yet. And that is enough. Saturday morning, your father is at the barber shop. He has been going to the same barber for 14 years. Same chair, same jokes, same smell of talcum powder and tonic. The barber shop is a narrow storefront on Main Street, wedged between the hardware store and the dry cleaners. The windows are tall and clean, with a red and white pole spinning slowly outside and a hand-painted sign that says haircuts in block letters. Your father parks the car at the curb, checks his watch, and walks in. The bell above the door jingles. The barber looks up from the customer in the chair and nods. Your father nods back. No words are needed. This is how it always is. There are 3 chairs bolted to the floor, all facing a long mirror that runs the length of the wall. Only one barber works here. The other 2 chairs are for waiting. Your father takes a seat in the second chair and picks up a magazine from the stack on the side table. Sports Illustrated, Life, the Saturday Evening Post. He does not read. He just flips through the pages, glancing at the pictures, half listening to the conversation happening in front of him. The barber is talking about the weather. The customer is talking about his tomatoes. They move from one subject to another without any clear transitions, Baseball, the new highway they are building on the east side of town, the price of a gallon of gas. Your father listens, occasionally nodding, occasionally adding a comment when the conversation turns to something he knows about. Nobody is in a hurry. The haircut takes 20 minutes, but the man has been sitting in the chair for 35. When it is your father's turn, he stands up, shakes out the magazine, and sets it back on the pile. He walks to the chair and sits down without being asked. The barber pumps the chair up 3 clicks with his foot, drapes a striped cloth over your father's chest, and tucks it into his collar. Then he picks up his scissors and comb and gets to work. The conversation continues. Your father talks about work. The barber talks about his daughter, who just started college. They talk about the Dodgers, the election, the new shopping center going up on the old Henderson farm. The barber moves around the chair with practiced efficiency, snipping and combing, pausing every few seconds to tilt your father's head one way or the other. The scissors make a soft clicking sound. Hair falls onto the cloth, onto the floor, into the pile that the barber will sweep up after your father leaves. The shop smells like hair tonic, bay rum, and something faintly medicinal that might be disinfectant or might just be the smell of old tile and worn leather. The mirror is spotted in places, and the chairs are cracked along the armrests, but everything is clean. The barber takes pride in that. He sweeps between every customer. He wipes down the counter. He sharpens his scissors at the end of every day. When the haircut is finished, the barber holds up a hand mirror so your father can see the back of his head. Your father glances at it, nods, says it looks fine. It always looks fine. The barber brushes the loose hair off your father's neck with a soft brush, shakes out the cloth, and lowers the chair. Your father stands, reaches into his pocket, and pulls out a dollar bill and a quarter. The haircut costs $1. The quarter is the tip. The barber takes the money, thanks him, and writes something in a small ledger on the counter. Your father walks to the door, pauses, and says, "See you in 2 weeks." The barber says, "Take care now." The bell jingles. Your father steps outside, runs his hand over his freshly cut hair, and gets back in the car. The whole visit took 45 minutes. It will happen again in exactly 2 weeks. Same chair, same conversation, same result. When you are old enough, your father will bring you with him. You will sit in the 3rd chair and wait your turn. The barber will pump the chair up higher for you and put a wooden board across the armrests so you do not sink too low. He will ask you about school. He will tell you to hold still. And when he is finished, you will look in the mirror and see a haircut identical to every other boy in your class. Short on the sides, a little longer on top, parted on the left, and slicked down with tonic. You will pay for your own haircut when you are older. You will sit in the same chair your father sat in. You will have the same conversation. And decades from now, when the barber shop is long gone and you are cutting your own son's hair in the kitchen with electric clippers, you will remember the sound of those scissors clicking, the smell of that tonic, and the way your father looked in the mirror, satisfied every single time. The grocery store in your neighborhood has been there since before you were born. It is small. It is independently owned. And the man at the register knows your mother by name. The store is called Palmer's, or Miller's, or Johnson's Market, named after the family that owns it, the family that has owned it for 30 years and will own it for 30 more. It sits on the corner of Elm and 4th, a squat brick building with a green awning and a painted sign that is starting to fade. There is a small parking lot out front with space for maybe 10 cars, and a wooden crate by the door where they put the overripe bananas and the dented cans marked down to half price. Your mother shops here every Thursday afternoon. She knows the layout by heart. Produce is on the left, canned goods down the center aisle, dairy in the back. Meat is behind the counter, where Mr. Palmer himself stands in a white apron, ready to cut whatever you need. There are no prepackaged steaks, no shrink-wrapped chicken breasts. You tell him what you want, and he cuts it for you, right there, while you wait. The aisles are narrow, just wide enough for two people to pass if one of them steps aside. The shelves are wooden, and the floor is worn linoleum with a pattern that might have been green once, but now is mostly gray. The lights overhead hum softly, fluorescent tubes that flicker when the compressor for the milk case kicks on. Everything is a little dim, a little close, but it is clean and it is organized, and your mother can find what she needs without asking. There are no shopping carts. There are metal baskets with handles stacked by the door. Your mother picks one up, hooks it over her arm, and starts down the first aisle. She does not have a list. She does not need one. She knows what she bought last week. She knows what is running low. And she knows what she is planning to cook for the next 5 dinners. She picks up a can of tomatoes, a box of elbow macaroni, a jar of mayonnaise. She moves through the store like she is following a map, only she can see. Mr. Palmer greets her by name when she reaches the meat counter. He asks how your father is doing. He asks if your brother is feeling better. He heard from someone at church that your brother had a cold last week. Your mother says he is fine now. Thank you for asking. Mr. Palmer nods and asks what she needs today. 2 pork chops, she says. Thick cut. He reaches into the case, pulls out a loin, and starts cutting. The knife is long and sharp, and he works with the kind of precision that comes from doing the same thing 1,000 times. He wraps the chops in white paper, writes the price on the front in grease pencil, and hands them across the counter. At the register, Mrs. Palmer is waiting. She is Mr. Palmer's wife, and she has worked the register since the day they opened. She knows the price of everything without looking. She rings up each item on a mechanical register that dings with every key press, and the numbers flip into place behind a small glass window. Your mother watches the total climb. $2.60, $2.85, $3.10, and when Mrs. Palmer announces the final total, your mother opens her purse and counts out the exact amount in bills and coins. $3.47. Mrs. Palmer takes the money, makes change, and drops the coins into your mother's open palm. There are no bags unless you ask for them, and even then, they are paper bags that cost a nickel each. Your mother does not ask. She has brought her own canvas bag from home, and Mrs. Palmer packs everything inside. Cans on the bottom, bread on top, eggs nestled carefully in the corner where they will not crack. Your mother thanks her. Mrs. Palmer says, "See you next week." And your mother walks out the door, the bell jingling behind her, the bag heavy on her arm. The store closes at 6 every evening and stays closed on Sundays. If you run out of milk on a Sunday, you wait until Monday. If you need something after 6, you make do without it. The hours are painted on the door in neat white letters, and they never change. This is not a convenience. This is a grocery store, and grocery stores keep grocery store hours. You will shop here until you leave for college. Your mother will shop here until the day a new supermarket opens on the highway, with wide aisles and bright lights and carts big enough to hold a week's worth of groceries. She will try it once, out of curiosity, and she will find it overwhelming and impersonal. But she will go back the next week, and the week after that, because the prices are lower and the selection is bigger, and everyone else is shopping there now. Palmer's Market will close 2 years later. The building will sit empty for a while, then become a hardware store, then a tax preparation office, then nothing at all. But for now, it is still here. And every Thursday, your mother walks through that door, and Mr. Palmer asks how your father is doing, and everything is exactly the way it has always been. Summer in 1955 is hot, truly hot. There is no central air. There is no thermostat dial. There is an oscillating fan in the living room, and maybe one in your bedroom if you are lucky. The heat starts in June and does not let up until September. It builds slowly through the morning, climbing degree by degree, until the house itself feels like it is radiating warmth from the walls. By noon, the air is thick and still. By 3 in the afternoon, you can feel sweat forming at the back of your neck just from sitting in a chair. By bedtime, the upstairs is unbearable. Your mother opens every window in the house first thing in the morning, before the heat has a chance to settle in. She props them up with wooden sticks, pulls back the curtains, and prays for a breeze. Sometimes it comes. Most days it does not. The air outside is just as hot as the air inside, and opening the windows does nothing but let in the sound of your neighbor's lawnmower and the smell of cut grass baking in the sun. The fan sits in the corner of the living room on a small metal stand. It is round, heavy, and made of steel painted white. The blades are enclosed in a wire cage that you could stick your finger through if you were foolish enough to try. It oscillates slowly from left to right, sweeping the room in a wide arc, and every time it passes your chair, you feel a brief, glorious moment of relief. Then it moves on, and the heat closes back in. Your father comes home from work with his shirt damp and his tie loosened. He walks straight to the fan, stands in front of it for a full minute, and lets the air blow directly into his face. Then he goes upstairs to change into lighter clothes, trousers, and an undershirt. No socks, no shoes. Your mother has already changed into a sleeveless cotton dress. You and your brother have been in shorts and bare feet since breakfast. Dinner is cold. Nobody wants to turn on the stove. Your mother serves sliced ham, potato salad from the refrigerator, sliced tomatoes from the garden, and a pitcher of iced tea that sweats onto the tablecloth. You eat quickly in silence, because talking takes energy, and energy creates heat. After dinner, your father moves his chair closer to the fan. Your mother sits on the porch with a glass of tea and a magazine. You and your brother lie on the living room floor, where the air is slightly cooler, and stare at the ceiling. At night, sleep is a negotiation. Your bedroom is on the second floor, where the heat rises and gets trapped under the roof. You lie on top of the covers in nothing but your underwear, the window open as wide as it will go, hoping for a breeze that almost never comes. The sheet beneath you is damp with sweat. Your pillow is warm no matter how many times you flip it over. You drift in and out of sleep, waking every hour to the sound of cicadas screaming outside and the fan downstairs, still oscillating, still pushing hot air from one side of the house to the other. Your mother keeps a bowl of ice water by the bed and a washcloth draped over the edge. When the heat becomes unbearable, she dips the washcloth in the water, wrings it out, and drapes it across her forehead. It stays cool for maybe 2 minutes. Then it is warm again, and she dips it again. And the cycle continues until she finally falls asleep from sheer exhaustion. Some nights your family sleeps outside. Your father drags the mattresses onto the back lawn, and you all lie there in a row, staring up at the stars, hoping the temperature will drop just enough to make sleep possible. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does not. But at least outside, there is the illusion of air movement. At least outside, you are not trapped in a house that feels like an oven. There is no escaping it. You cannot go to the mall because there is no mall. You cannot sit in a movie theater for 2 hours because the movie theater is not air-conditioned either. The library is cooler, but only barely. The drugstore has a fan behind the counter, but that does not help you. The only place in town with real air conditioning is the bank. and you cannot spend the afternoon at the bank. So you endure. You drink cold water. You sit still. You take lukewarm baths in the middle of the day just to feel something other than hot. You stop wearing shoes. You stop caring what your hair looks like. You move slowly, speak softly, and count the days until September, when the heat will finally break and the world will feel livable again. And then, one morning, you wake up and the air is different. It is still warm, but there is something else underneath it, a coolness, a shift, a promise. Your mother opens the windows and says it is finally breaking. Your father turns off the fan, and you realize you have survived another summer, without air conditioning, without relief, just open windows, oscillating fans, and the quiet, stubborn endurance of people who had no other choice. Sunday morning is the same every week. You wake up, you put on your church clothes, you sit in the same pew, and you listen to the same sermon structure you have been hearing your entire life. The alarm does not go off on Sunday. Your mother wakes you instead, opening the door and saying, "It is time to get up. We are leaving in an hour." You do not argue. You do not ask for 5 more minutes. Sunday is not a day for negotiation. You sit up, swing your legs out of bed, and start getting ready. Your church clothes are already laid out on the chair in the corner. Your mother did that last night after you went to bed. For you, it is a white dress shirt, dark trousers, a thin tie that you do not yet know how to knot yourself. For your brother, the same. For your mother, a dress with a matching hat and white gloves that she only wears to church and weddings. For your father, his one good suit, the navy blue one he bought 8 years ago and has worn every Sunday since. You dress in silence. You comb your hair with water from the bathroom sink until it lies flat against your head. You check your reflection in the mirror and see a boy who looks serious, uncomfortable, and slightly too formal for his own skin. You look like every other boy who will be sitting in that church this morning. That is the point. Breakfast is light, toast and juice, maybe a soft-boiled egg if there is time. Your mother does not cook a full meal on Sunday mornings. She is too busy getting ready, making sure everyone is dressed properly, checking that your brother has his Bible, checking that your father has his wallet for the collection plate. By 8:30, the whole family is standing by the front door, waiting. Your father checks his watch. Your mother adjusts her hat in the hallway mirror. And then you leave. The church is 6 blocks away. Your family walks. Everyone walks. By the time you reach the corner, you can see other families streaming toward the same destination, fathers in suits, mothers in dresses and hats, children scrubbed clean and walking in careful, measured steps. No one is running. No one is laughing. Sunday morning is serious business. You arrive at 8:50. The church is already half full. Your family walks down the center aisle and slides into the same pew you sit in every week, 4th row from the front, left side. Your mother goes in first, then you, then your brother, then your father on the end. You do not choose where to sit. This is your pew. It has been your pew for as long as you can remember. The family that used to sit here moved to California 3 years ago, and your family claimed it the following Sunday. The service starts at 9. The organ plays. Everyone stands. The pastor enters from the side door and takes his place at the pulpit. You sing a hymn from memory. No need to look at the hymnal, because you have sung this same song 100 times. You sit. You bow your head. You listen to the scripture reading. You stand again. You sing again. You sit again. The sermon is long. 25 minutes, sometimes 30. The pastor's voice rises and falls in a rhythm that is both soothing and numbing. You stop listening after the first 10 minutes. You stare at the stained glass window behind the altar, watching the colored light shift as clouds pass over the sun. You count the ceiling tiles. You read the inscription on the hymnal in front of you. You try not to fidget because your mother is watching, and if you fidget, she will place her hand on your knee in a way that means stop. The collection plate comes around. Your father drops in a folded bill. You drop in the nickel he gave you before you left the house. The plate moves down the row, heavy with coins and crumpled dollars. The organ plays softly. The pastor prays. Everyone bows their heads. You close your eyes and think about lunch. The service ends at 10:30. Everyone stands, files out row by row, shakes the pastor's hand at the door. Your father says good sermon. Your mother says see you next week. The pastor smiles and nods and moves on to the next person in line. You step outside into the sunlight, blinking, relieved, already loosening your tie before your mother tells you to stop. The walk home is lighter. People talk now, calling out to neighbors, making plans for the afternoon. Your father and another man from church talk about the Tigers. Your mother and another woman talk about the church social next month. You and your brother walk a few steps ahead, no longer required to be silent. By 11:15, you are home. You change out of your church clothes immediately, hanging them carefully on the chair for next Sunday. Your mother is already in the kitchen. The pot roast has been in the oven since before you left, slow cooking for the past 2 hours. The house smells like beef and onions and carrots, rich and warm, and exactly the same as every other Sunday. Lunch is at noon. Pot roast, mashed potatoes, green beans, and rolls. Your father carves. Your mother serves. You eat in the same seats you ate in last night and the night before, and every night for as long as you can remember. No one is in a hurry. The afternoon stretches out ahead of you, slow and wide and empty. And that is exactly how Sunday is supposed to be. The five and dime is where you buy everything you do not buy at the grocery store. Birthday candles, a spool of thread, a new pencil case, a balsa wood airplane, a paper doll set. The store is called Woolworth's, or McCrory's, or Ben Franklin, depending on what part of town you live in. It sits on Main Street between the bank and the shoe repair shop, with tall glass windows and a red sign that has been there so long the paint is starting to crack. You push through the front door and a bell rings above your head. The air inside smells like popcorn, rubber, and something faintly metallic that might be the smell of all that merchandise packed into one low-ceilinged room. The aisles are narrow and crammed with goods. Shelves run from the floor to the ceiling, stacked with items that seem to have no organizing principle except proximity. Garden seeds next to sewing needles, toy soldiers next to hair curlers, light bulbs next to birthday candles. You could spend an hour in here and still not see everything. Your mother comes here when she needs something small, something specific, something she cannot find anywhere else. Today, it is a spool of thread, navy blue, to match the hem she is fixing on your father's work trousers. She walks straight to the notions aisle, scanning the rows of thread until she finds the right color. She picks it up, checks the price tag, and tucks it under her arm. Then she keeps walking, because no one comes to the five and dime for just one thing. You follow her through the aisles, looking at everything, touching nothing. There are plastic toys in bright colors stacked in wire bins. There are comic books on a spinning rack, the covers creased from too many hands flipping through them. There are rolls of wrapping paper, boxes of crayons, jars of buttons, spools of ribbon, decks of playing cards, packets of balloons. Everything costs a nickel or a dime, sometimes a quarter, never more than 50 cents. In the toy aisle, you stop. There are model airplane kits in thin cardboard boxes, the kind you have to glue together yourself. There are cap guns with rolls of red caps that smell like sulfur when they pop. There are paddle balls, yo-yos, jacks, marbles in a mesh bag. You pick up a balsa wood glider, just 3 pieces of thin wood and a rubber band, and turn it over in your hands. It costs 15 cents. You have a dime in your pocket and 5 cents at home in your dresser drawer. You set it back on the shelf and tell yourself you will come back for it next week. At the lunch counter in the back, a few people are sitting on red vinyl stools, eating grilled cheese sandwiches and drinking Cokes. The counter girl is wiping down the marble top with a damp rag, moving in slow, methodical circles. Your mother glances at the counter, then at you, then at the clock on the wall. "Not today," she says. "We need to get home." At the register, the cashier rings up the spool of thread on a mechanical register that dings with every key press. 15 cents. Your mother hands her a quarter. The cashier counts out a dime and 5 pennies, drops them into your mother's open palm, and slides the thread into a small paper bag. Your mother thanks her. The cashier nods, and you follow your mother back out the door, the bell jingling behind you. The 5 and dime is not a destination. It is a utility, a place to find the small, forgettable things that keep a household running, the thumbtacks, the shoelaces, the birthday candles, the replacement washers for the leaky faucet. It is not charming. It is not nostalgic. It is simply there, reliable and unchanging, stocked with exactly what you need and nothing you do not. You will come back here 100 times. You will buy a plastic whistle for 10 cents when you are 8. You will buy a pack of gum for a nickel when you are 10. You will buy a small bottle of perfume for your mother's birthday when you are 12. And the cashier will wrap it in tissue paper and tie it with a ribbon, and your mother will keep the bottle on her dresser for the next 15 years, long after the perfume inside has evaporated. The 5 and dime will close in the 1970s, a victim of the shopping malls and the big box stores that sell the same things for less. The building will sit empty for a while, then become a discount shoe store, then a pawn shop, then nothing at all. But for now, it is still here. And every week, your mother walks through that door, buys her thread, and walks back out. And the world continues, small and steady, and exactly the way it should be. Monday is laundry day, always Monday. Your mother starts before breakfast, and the washing machine groans and thumps from the back porch until mid-afternoon. The rhythm of the week is built around certain fixed points, and laundry day is one of them. Not Tuesday, not Wednesday, Monday. The same way church is Sunday, and grocery shopping is Thursday. This is simply how the week is structured, and your mother follows that structure the way a train follows tracks, without deviation, without complaint, because this is what Monday is for. She wakes up early. By the time you come downstairs for breakfast, she is already on the back porch, sorting clothes into piles on the floor. Whites in one pile, colors in another, work clothes in a third. Delicates, your father's good shirts, her Sunday dress, are set aside to be washed by hand in the sink later. Everything else goes into the machine. The washing machine is not in the basement. It is on the back porch, a squat white machine with a wringer attached to the top. It is loud. The kind of loud that makes conversation impossible. It fills with water from a hose connected to the utility sink. And the water is cold, always cold, because the machine is not hooked up to the hot water line. Your mother adds soap flakes from a cardboard box, drops in the first load, and closes the lid. The machine shudders to life, the agitator spinning back and forth, sloshing water over the sides if she filled it too high. She does not leave the porch. She cannot. The machine does not have cycles. It does not turn itself off. Your mother stands there, watching, waiting, checking the time on the clock above the sink. After 10 minutes, she stops the machine, lifts the lid, and pulls out the clothes piece by piece. They are heavy, soaked through, dripping onto the floor. She feeds each piece through the wringer, a pair of rubber rollers that squeeze out the water and flatten the fabric as it passes through. You have been warned a dozen times not to touch the wringer. Your mother tells you a story about a woman who got her hand caught in one and broke 3 fingers. You do not touch the wringer. The wrung-out clothes land in a laundry basket on the other side of the machine. Your mother carries the basket outside to the clothesline, a length of rope strung between 2 metal poles in the backyard. She pins each item to the line with wooden clothespins, stretching out the shirts and trousers so they hang straight, clipping the corners of the sheets and pillowcases so the wind will not pull them down. The line is already full, and she is only halfway through the first load. She will do this 4 more times before lunch. The whole process takes hours. Washing, wringing, hanging, then starting over with the next load. By mid-morning, the backyard looks like a ship rigged with sails, white sheets flapping in the breeze, towels hanging heavy and damp, your father's work shirts pinned by the shoulders, sleeves hanging limp. If it rains, everything has to come down, be hung inside, draped over chairs and doorways, the house humid and smelling faintly of wet cotton for the next 2 days. Your mother does not sit down. She does not take a break. She moves from the porch to the yard and back again, over and over, her hands red from the cold water and rough from wringing. By lunchtime, the first load is dry enough to bring inside. She unpins each piece, folds it into the basket, and carries it to the kitchen table. Then she starts ironing. The iron is heavy, solid metal, heated on the stove, until it is hot enough to smooth wrinkles, but not so hot it scorches. Your mother tests it by spitting on the bottom. If the spit sizzles and evaporates, it is ready. She presses your father's shirts with precision, collar first, then cuffs, then the body. She presses the pillowcases. She presses the dish towels. She presses things you did not know needed pressing. The smell of hot cotton and steam fills the kitchen. Dinner on Monday is always simple. Leftovers from Sunday, or a casserole she prepared yesterday, or sandwiches if she is too tired to think. Your father does not complain. Monday is laundry day. Everyone knows that. By evening, the clothes are folded and put away. The washing machine is drained and wiped down. The clothesline is empty, swaying gently in the wind. And your mother finally sits down, exhausted, her hands raw, already thinking about what needs to be done tomorrow. Laundry day is not romanticized. It is not a charming domestic ritual. It is work, hard, physical, unrelenting work. But it happens every Monday without fail, because clean clothes do not wash themselves. And in 1955, this is simply what it takes. Services come to you. You do not go to them. The milkman arrives at dawn. The iceman pulls up mid-morning with blocks wrapped in burlap. The knife sharpener rings his bell on Thursday afternoons. The world comes to your door in 1955. Not in boxes from a warehouse 2 states away, but in person, delivered by men who drive the same route every week, who know your family by name, who leave things on your porch and pick up what you no longer need without you having to ask. The milkman is first. You have already heard about him earlier in the script, but he is not alone. He is part of a system, a network of services that show up at your house on a schedule so reliable, you could set your watch by it. The milk comes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The iceman comes Tuesday and Saturday. The knife sharpener comes every other Thursday. The garbage man comes Monday morning before dawn. The mailman comes at 11:15 every day except Sunday. Your mother does not have to call anyone. She does not have to schedule anything. These men simply arrive. The Iceman drives a truck with a wooden bed and metal hooks hanging from the side. He wears a leather apron and thick gloves, even in summer, because the ice is heavy and sharp and colder than anything you have ever touched. He pulls up to the curb, climbs into the back of the truck, and uses steel tongs to lift a block of ice the size of a suitcase. He carries it to your back porch, where your icebox is waiting, and slides it into the top compartment. The old block, melted down to a sliver, sits in a tray underneath. He dumps the water into the grass, wipes his hands on his apron, and leaves. The whole transaction takes 2 minutes. Your mother pays him at the end of the week, when he comes to collect. The knife sharpener is a man with a cart. Not a truck, a cart. A wooden push cart with a grinding wheel bolted to the side and a leather strap for pulling it down the street. He rings a handbell as he walks, a sharp metallic sound that carries for blocks. Your mother hears it from inside the house. She grabs the kitchen knives, the butcher knife, the paring knife, the bread knife, and carries them outside. The knife sharpener is already setting up in front of your house, flipping down a small stool, testing the grinding wheel with his thumb. He does not speak much. Your mother hands him the knives. He examines each one, running his finger along the edge, nodding to himself. Then he sits down, pumps the pedal that turns the wheel, and holds the blade against the stone. Sparks fly. The wheel hums. The knife takes shape under his hands, the dull edge becoming sharp again, sharp enough to slice a tomato without crushing it, sharp enough to cut clean through a rope. He tests each knife on a piece of leather he keeps in his pocket, hands them back to your mother one by one, and tells her the price. 20 cents. She pays him from the change purse in her apron. He tips his cap, picks up his cart, and moves on to the next house. The Raleigh man comes once a month. He sells household goods door to door, cleaning supplies, spices, ointments, extracts, brushes. He carries a leather case full of samples, and when your mother answers the door, he opens the case on the porch and shows her what is new this month. Vanilla extract, lemon furniture polish, a bottle of liniment for sore muscles. Your mother does not need any of it, but she buys something anyway, because the Raleigh man has been coming to this street for 12 years, and it seems rude to send him away empty-handed. She buys the vanilla. He writes her a receipt in a small notebook, thanks her, and walks next door. The insurance man comes every Saturday morning. He knocks on the door, stands on the porch with his hat in his hands, and collects the weekly premium. $2.75 for life insurance on your father. Your mother pays him from the household money, and he marks it in his ledger. If your family ever misses a payment, the policy lapses. That is how it works. No grace period, no second chances. You pay every week or you lose coverage. So your mother pays every week. There are others. The Fuller Brush man. The vegetable man who drives a truck full of produce and sells it from the back. The egg man who brings fresh eggs from his farm and trades them for whatever your mother does not need anymore. Jars, newspapers, old linens. The world comes to your door, and your door is open. This is not convenience in the modern sense. It is not frictionless. You cannot click a button and have something arrive in 2 hours. But it is a different kind of convenience, the kind where you do not have to go anywhere, because the things you need are already coming to you. And the men who bring them know your name. They know your house. They know your order. And they will be back next week. Same time, same place. As reliable as the sunrise. You are sent outside after breakfast, and you are not expected back until dinner. No supervision, no schedule, no cell phone to check in. Your mother opens the front door and says, "Go play." You do not ask where. You do not ask with who. You just go. Out the door, down the steps, into the street. Your brother follows. So do the kids from next door, and the kids from across the street. And within 10 minutes, there are 8 of you standing in the middle of the road, deciding what to do. There is no plan. There is no organized activity. There are no playdates scheduled 3 weeks in advance with another child's mother. You are simply outside, and so are a dozen other kids. And collectively, you will figure out how to fill the next 6 hours. Someone suggests a game of kick the can. Someone else suggests riding bikes to the vacant lot 3 streets over. Someone else says they saw a turtle near the creek yesterday, and maybe it is still there. You do not vote. You do not debate. You just start walking, and whoever wants to come along comes along, and whoever does not stays behind. The vacant lot is a patch of overgrown grass and dirt where a house used to stand before it burned down. No one has built anything new there yet, and in the meantime, it belongs to you. There are old tires half buried in the dirt. There is a rusted shopping cart someone dragged from the grocery store. There is a tree with low branches perfect for climbing. You spend an hour there, building a fort out of sticks and cardboard, defending it from an imaginary army, then abandoning it the moment someone suggests something better. You ride your bikes down the sidewalk, standing up on the pedals, no hands, swerving around cracks and tree roots. You ride to the corner store and spend your last nickel on a bottle of soda that you share, passing it around until it is gone. You ride to the park, which is just a swing set and a slide, and you swing until your legs are tired and the chains start to squeak. No one is watching you. Your mother is at home, doing laundry or cleaning or making lunch. She is not worried. She is not checking the clock every 10 minutes. She does not know where you are, and she does not need to know. You are outside. That is enough. You play in the street because there are no cars. Or rather, there are cars, but only a few, and they drive slowly, and the drivers know there are kids playing and they expect to see you. If a car comes, someone yells "car," and everyone scatters to the side of the road. The car rolls past at 5 miles an hour. The driver waves. You wave back. And as soon as the car is gone, you are back in the street, picking up where you left off. You dig in the dirt. You catch bugs in jars. You climb trees and fall out of trees and get up and climb them again. You scrape your knee and wipe the blood on your shirt and keep playing. There is no first aid kit. There is no adult running over with Band-Aids and antiseptic. You are fine. You are always fine. Lunchtime comes and goes. Your mother calls you in, or she does not. If she does, you eat a sandwich, standing up in the kitchen, drink a glass of milk, and run back outside before she can give you a chore. If she does not call you, you stay outside and eat whatever you can find. A handful of berries from the bush in someone's yard. An apple you picked up off the ground. Nothing at all. The afternoon stretches long and shapeless. There is no structure, no agenda. You are not working toward anything. You are not training for anything. You are just playing, and playing has no purpose beyond itself. You build things and knock them down. You make up games with rules you forget 5 minutes later. You argue about nothing and forget what you are arguing about. As the sun starts to sink, you notice the shadows getting longer. You do not have a watch. You do not have a phone. But you know instinctively that it is getting late. You start drifting toward home, slowly, reluctantly, still playing, but with one eye on the sky. The street lights come on. That is the signal. When the street lights come on, you go home. No exceptions. Your mother does not have to call you. Your father does not have to come looking for you. You just know. The lights come on and you go home. You walk through the front door, sweaty and dirty and sunburned. Your mother glances at you, says, "Go wash your hands," and you do. Dinner is already on the table. You sit down, still breathing hard, still thinking about the fort you built and the game you were winning and the turtle you never found. Your father asks what you did today. You say played outside. He nods. That is a complete answer. Tomorrow you will do it again. Outside after breakfast. Home when the streetlights come on. No supervision, no schedule. Just you and the street and the whole long day ahead. The malt shop is where teenagers go after school, after the game, after anything. It is a booth by the window, a cherry Coke, a shared basket of fries, and whatever song someone just fed into the jukebox. The malt shop is called Eddie's, or Joe's, or the Starlight Diner, depending on which side of town you are on. It does not matter what it is called. Every town has one, and they are all exactly the same. A long counter with chrome stools, booths with red vinyl seats, black and white checkered tile on the floor, a jukebox in the corner that glows like a neon church. You walk in after school, still wearing your leather jacket or your saddle shoes, your hair still combed the way you combed it this morning. The place is already full. Every booth is taken. Every stool is occupied. The air smells like grease and coffee and sugar and something else you cannot name, probably just the smell of teenagers in an enclosed space. But it feels like possibility. You slide into a booth with your friends. The vinyl squeaks under your weight. The table is sticky, wiped down 100 times, but never quite clean. There is a small jukebox selector built into the wall next to the booth. 3 songs for a quarter. You flip through the selections, even though you already know what you are going to pick. Everyone knows what they are going to pick. The same songs play over and over, all day, every day, until the owner gets tired of them and swaps out the records. You drop a quarter in the slot. You press the buttons, B7, L4, C2. The jukebox clicks and whirs. A mechanical arm lifts the record from its slot and places it on the turntable. The needle drops. The song starts. And for the next 2.5 minutes, everyone in the malt shop is listening to the same thing. The waitress comes over, order pad in hand, pencil tucked behind her ear. She does not ask if you are ready. She just stands there, waiting. You order a cherry Coke. Your friend orders a chocolate malt. Someone else orders a basket of fries to share. The waitress writes it down without looking, tears the page from her pad and clips it to the metal carousel that spins into the kitchen. Then she moves on to the next table. The food comes fast. The cherry Coke is bright red, almost glowing, sweeter than anything that exists in nature. The malt is thick, served in a tall glass with a metal mixing cup on the side, still frosty from the freezer. The fries are hot and salty and gone in 5 minutes. You are not here for the food. You are here because this is where everyone is. And being where everyone is the whole point. The jukebox plays on. Someone walks over and feeds it another quarter. The same songs, different order. Elvis, Buddy Holly, The Platters, Chuck Berry. Everyone knows the words. Some people sing along, quietly, under their breath. Some people tap their feet. Some people just sit and listen, staring out the window at the street, at the cars driving past, at the world moving slowly by. Your friend across the booth is telling a story about something that happened in third period. You are half listening, half watching the door to see who else comes in. A group of girls from your class walks past the window, glances inside, keeps walking. The boy behind the counter flips a burger on the grill. The waitress refills coffee cups without being asked. The jukebox clicks and another song starts. You are not doing anything. That is the point. You are sitting in a booth, drinking a Coke, talking about nothing. And this is what teenagers do in 1955. This is the social life. This is the entertainment. No phones to scroll. No screens to stare at. Just the booth, the music, and the low hum of other people's conversations blending into one warm, comfortable noise. An hour passes, maybe two. You do not check the time because you do not have anywhere else to be. Eventually, someone says they have to get home. Someone else says they have homework. The group starts to break up one by one, sliding out of the booth and heading for the door. You leave $1 on the table, enough to cover your Coke and your share of the fries, and a small tip for the waitress. She will clear the table, wipe it down, and another group will take your place. You walk outside into the late afternoon light. The jukebox is still playing inside, the sound fading as you walk down the sidewalk. You will be back tomorrow. Same booth, same Coke, same jukebox. Because this is what you do. This is where you go. And in 1955, that is enough. Saturday night, your parents pack the car. You and your brother climb into the back seat in your pajamas. Your mother brings a thermos of coffee and a bag of popcorn made at home. The drive-in theater sits on the edge of town, past the last streetlight where the fields open up and the sky gets wider. It is a gravel lot with a white screen the size of a building and rows of speaker posts sticking up from the ground like metal mushrooms. Your father pays at the gate, $1 per car, no matter how many people are inside, and the attendant waves you through. The lot is already half full, families settling in, engines idling, headlights cutting through the dusk. Your father drives slowly through the rows, looking for the right spot. Not too close to the screen, that hurts your neck. Not too far back, that makes the picture small. Somewhere in the middle, with a good angle and no tall car blocking the view. He finds a spot, pulls in, cuts the engine. Your mother twists around in her seat and checks that you and your brother are settled. You are already lying down, stretched across the back seat, a pillow under your head and a blanket pulled up to your chin. Your father gets out, lifts the heavy speaker off the post, and hooks it over the edge of the driver's side window. The speaker is metal, dented, and crackles with static until he adjusts the volume knob on the side. Then it clears and you hear music, big band stuff, something brassy and old-fashioned that your parents recognize and you do not. The movie has not started yet. The screen is still blank, glowing faintly in the twilight. Your mother opens the thermos and pours coffee into the red plastic cap. The smell fills the car, bitter, rich, comforting. She passes the cap to your father. He takes a sip, hands it back, and she pours another. The popcorn is in a brown paper bag, still warm from the stove, salted and buttered just the way your father likes it. Your mother passes the bag to the back seat. You reach in, grab a handful, and pass it to your brother. The bag will make 3 trips back and forth before it is empty. Other families are doing the same thing. You can see them through the windows, parents in the front seat, kids in the back, everyone waiting. Some people have brought lawn chairs and are sitting outside their cars, bundled in blankets. Some people have brought their own food, sandwiches, thermoses, bags of candy. The concession stand is open, a small lit building near the entrance, but your family never goes there. Too expensive. Your mother makes everything at home. The sun sets slowly, the sky fading from blue to pink to deep purple. The first stars come out. The temperature drops. Your father rolls up his window halfway, leaving just enough room for the speaker cord. Your mother pulls a sweater over her shoulders. You burrow deeper into your blanket, warm and sleepy and perfectly content. The screen flickers to life. First, the previews, coming attractions for movies you will probably never see. Then a cartoon, something with a rabbit, or a cat, or a character you vaguely recognize from Saturday morning television. You laugh at the parts that are supposed to be funny. Your brother laughs too, a beat behind you, because he does not always get the jokes, but he likes the energy. Then the main feature begins. The title card appears, big block letters filling the screen. Your father adjusts the speaker volume one more time. Your mother settles back into her seat. And for the next 90 minutes, your family sits in the dark, in the car, watching a story unfold on a screen the size of a building, surrounded by 100 other families doing exactly the same thing. You make it through the first movie. You are awake for the opening credits of the second one, but not much longer. The voices from the speaker start to blur together. The images on the screen lose their edges. You close your eyes just for a second, and when you open them again, the screen is dark, the lot is emptying, and your father is unhooking the speaker from the window. Your mother twists around to check on you. You are asleep. So is your brother. She does not wake you. She just tucks the blanket around your shoulders and turns back to face the front. Your father starts the car, pulls out of the lot, and drives home through the quiet streets. You do not wake up when he lifts you out of the back seat. You do not wake up when he carries you inside and lays you in your bed. You wake up the next morning, still in your pajamas, with no memory of the drive home and a vague recollection of a movie you are not sure you actually saw. But that is the drive-in. That is Saturday night, and next week you will do it all over again. Sunday afternoon is slow, deliberately slow. The stores are closed. The radio plays easy listening. Your father is asleep on the couch with the newspaper folded across his chest. The church clothes come off soon as you get home from service. You change into something comfortable, trousers without a crease, a shirt without buttons, socks you can actually walk in. Your mother changes into a house dress. Your father changes into his weekend clothes, the ones he keeps folded in the bottom drawer and only wears on Sundays. The whole house exhales. Lunch is already ready. Your mother put the roast in the oven before you left for church, set the timer, and left it to cook while the sermon droned on. By the time you sit down at the table, the meat is tender, the potatoes are soft, and the house smells like Sunday. You eat slowly. No one is in a hurry. There is nothing to hurry toward. After lunch, your mother clears the dishes and washes them by hand. Your father dries. This is the only meal of the week where he helps clean up, and even then, he does it slowly, methodically, drying each plate and stacking it in the cupboard with the kind of care that suggests he is thinking about something else entirely. You and your brother are excused from the table. You wander into the living room and sit on the floor, flipping through the Sunday comics, reading the same panels over and over because there is nothing else to do. Your father finishes drying the last dish, folds the towel over the oven handle, and walks to the living room. He does not announce that he is tired. He does not ask if anyone minds. He simply sits down on the couch, picks up the newspaper, opens it to the sports section, and starts reading. Within 10 minutes, the paper is slid down onto his chest. His head has tilted back against the cushion. His breathing has slowed. He is asleep. Your mother does not disturb him. She moves quietly through the house, putting things away, folding laundry, wiping down the kitchen counter one more time, even though it is already clean. The radio is on in the kitchen, turned low, playing something soft and instrumental. Strings and piano and the occasional crooning voice that your mother hums along with under her breath. She does not sit down. She never sits down on Sunday afternoons. But she moves slowly, without urgency, and that is her version of rest. You and your brother are bored. There is nothing to do. The stores are closed, so you cannot go downtown. Your friends are all at home with their own families, doing the same nothing you are doing. The television does not have anything good on, just a golf tournament or a church service or some black and white movie your parents might watch later. You sprawl on the floor, stare at the ceiling, and count the minutes. Your mother suggests you go outside. You do, reluctantly, but outside is just as slow as inside. The neighborhood is quiet. No one is mowing their lawn. No one is washing their car. A few families are sitting on their porches, rocking in chairs, talking in low voices. You walk down the sidewalk, kicking a stone, and eventually circle back to your own yard. There is nothing to do out here either. You come back inside. Your father is still asleep. The newspaper has slipped entirely off his chest and onto the floor. Your mother is in the kitchen, sitting at the table now, finally, with a cup of tea and a magazine. She is not reading. She is just sitting, staring out the window at nothing in particular, her hands wrapped around the cup for warmth, even though it is not cold. Sunday afternoon is not entertainment. It is not leisure in any modern sense. It is simply the absence of work, the absence of obligation, the long stretch of hours between lunch and dinner when nothing is expected and nothing is happening. It is boring, deliberately boring. And that is the point. Your father wakes up around 3:30. He sits up, blinks, looks around like he is not sure where he is. Then he picks up the newspaper from the floor, folds it neatly, and sets it on the side table. He stands, stretches, and walks to the kitchen. Your mother asks if he wants more coffee. He says yes. She pours him a cup from the percolator, which has been sitting on the stove since lunch, keeping warm. They sit together at the table, not talking, just drinking their coffee in the quiet afternoon light. You can hear the clock ticking in the hallway. You can hear a car passing on the street outside. You can hear your brother turning the pages of a comic book in the other room. Everything is slow. Everything is soft. Everything is still. By 4 o'clock, the afternoon is starting to shift toward evening. Your mother begins thinking about dinner, even though no one is hungry yet. Your father goes outside to check the lawn, even though he is not going to do anything about it today. You and your brother drift back to the living room and turn on the television, hoping something better has come on. It has not, but you watch it anyway, because there is nothing else to do. Sunday afternoon is not a break from life. It is life, stripped down to its slowest, quietest form. No distractions, no entertainment, just the house, the family, and the long, slow passage of time. And in 1955, that is exactly what Sunday afternoon is supposed to be. Someone knocks, and your mother opens the door to a man in a suit holding a sample case. He is selling brushes, or vacuum cleaners, or encyclopedias, and your mother invites him in. The knock is polite, 3 taps, evenly spaced, not too loud. Your mother is in the kitchen, wiping down the counter after lunch. She dries her hands on her apron, walks to the front door, and opens it. The man on the porch is wearing a suit and tie, his hair combed back with pomade, his shoes polished to a shine. He smiles, tips his hat, and introduces himself. His name is Mr. Patterson, or Mr. Lewis, or Mr. Something you will forget 5 minutes after he leaves. He works for Fuller Brush, or Electrolux, or Encyclopedia Britannica, and he would like just a few minutes of her time. Your mother does not slam the door. She does not say no thank you and walk away. She stands there, holding the door open, and listens. Mr. Patterson explains that he is in the neighborhood today, offering a special demonstration to a select few families. He is not here to sell anything. He makes that very clear. He is simply here to show her something that might make her life a little easier. Would she be interested in seeing it? Your mother hesitates. She has laundry to fold. She has dinner to start thinking about. But Mr. Patterson is polite, and he has already walked all the way up to her door. and it seems rude to send him away without at least hearing him out. So she steps aside and invites him in. He sets his case down on the living room floor and opens it with a practiced flourish. Inside, everything is organized, brushes arranged by size, samples lined up in neat rows, pamphlets stacked and ready to hand out. He pulls out a brush, holds it up, and begins his pitch. This is not an ordinary brush, he explains. This is a brush designed by engineers, tested by housewives, guaranteed to last 10 years. The bristles are imported. The handle is reinforced. It will clean floors, scrub grout, and dust baseboards without bending or breaking. Your mother nods politely. She does not need a new brush. She already has a brush. But Mr. Patterson is not finished. He pulls out another brush, this one for dishes, and another for clothes, and another for windows. He has a brush for everything. Each one comes with a story, a testimonial, a promise. He speaks quickly, confidently, moving from one product to the next without waiting for a response. You are watching from the hallway. You have been told to stay out of the way, but you are curious. Mr. Patterson notices you and smiles. He reaches into his case and pulls out a small toy brush, a miniature version of the full-sized one, just for kids. He hands it to you with a wink. Your mother does not stop him. This is part of the routine. The salesman gives the kid a toy, the kid is happy, and the mother feels a little more inclined to buy something. Mr. Patterson moves on to the vacuum cleaner. He does not have one in his case. Those are too big to carry. But he has a brochure, full of pictures and diagrams and testimonials from satisfied customers. He explains the suction power, the filtration system, the attachments. He asks your mother if she has ever had trouble getting dirt out of her carpets. She says sometimes. He nods knowingly. That is because her current vacuum is not powerful enough. But this vacuum will change everything. Your mother is starting to shift her weight from one foot to the other. She is glancing at the clock on the wall. Mr. Patterson notices, and he speeds up. He knows he is losing her. He pulls out one more item, a small cleaning solution in a glass bottle. This one is free, he says. A gift, just for letting him demonstrate. All he asks is that she consider the brushes. If she is interested, she can order now and save 10%. If not, no problem. He thanks her for her time, hands her the bottle, and starts packing up his case. Your mother takes the bottle. She thanks him. She does not buy anything. She never buys anything from the door-to-door salesman, but she always listens. That is just how it is done. You do not turn people away. You let them make their pitch, you accept the free sample, and you send them on their way. Mr. Patterson stands, picks up his case, and heads for the door. He tips his hat again, thanks your mother once more, and steps back onto the porch. She watches him walk down the sidewalk to the next house, knock on the next door, and start the whole routine again. Then she closes the door, sets the cleaning solution on the kitchen counter, and goes back to folding laundry. The bottle will sit on that counter for 2 weeks before she finally opens it and uses it to clean the bathroom sink. It will work fine. Not better than what she already has, but fine. And the next time a salesman knocks on the door, she will invite him in too. Because that is what you do in 1955. You open the door, you listen, and you send them on their way with a polite no thank you and a smile. So that was it. A Tuesday in 1955, a Saturday, a Sunday afternoon that stretched like warm taffy. The kind of life that moves slower than your heartbeat, quieter than your thoughts, and steadier than anything you will ever know again. You woke up to glass bottles on the porch. You walked to school alone and came home when the streetlights came on. You sat at the dinner table every night at 6, whether you were hungry or not. You went to church on Sunday, played outside until your knees were scraped, and drank cherry Cokes at the drugstore while the jukebox played the same 3 songs over and over. You knew every aisle at the grocery store, every house on your street, every crack in the sidewalk between home and school. It was ordinary, deeply, beautifully, maddeningly ordinary. And that was the point. There was no scroll to refresh, no notification to check, no next thing loading in the background while you were still finishing the first thing. There was just the day, unfolding in front of you, 1 hour at a time, with a structure so predictable you could set your internal clock by it. Monday was laundry. Thursday was shopping. Saturday was the barber shop and the beauty parlor. Sunday was church and pot roast, and your father asleep on the couch. The rhythm was so steady, so reliable, that it felt like it would last forever. But it did not. The milkman stopped coming. The lunch counters closed. The 5 and dime became a furniture store, then a tax office, then an empty building with soap still on the windows. The downtown that everyone walked through became the downtown no one needed anymore. The rituals that held the week together, one by one, quietly, without ceremony, dissolved. And the world that replaced it was faster, cheaper, more convenient, and infinitely more efficient. You could buy a gallon of milk at midnight. You could eat dinner in your car. You could get your news without waiting for the paperboy. You could do everything the 1950s required a whole system of people to accomplish. And you could do it alone, in your pajamas, without speaking to a single human being. Progress, they called it. And maybe it was. But something was lost in the trade. Not the milk bottles or the soda fountains or the party line telephones. Those were just objects. What was lost was the texture of a life lived in public, in rhythm with other people, in a world where you could not skip ahead or opt out or refresh the page. You had to show up. You had to wait your turn. You had to sit at the counter next to a stranger and share the same space, the same air, the same moment. The 1950s were not perfect. They were not simpler, despite what the nostalgia tells you. They were segregated, restrictive, and deeply limited in ways we barely tolerate now. But they were also slower. And slower meant you had time to notice things, time to sit with things, time to be bored and lonely and uncomfortable, and still have to stay in the room because there was nowhere else to go. That discomfort built something. It built neighborhoods where people knew each other's names. It built routines that held families together, even when no one particularly wanted to be held together. It built a version of community that was not optional, not curated, not based on shared interests or algorithms. You were part of it because you lived there. That was the only qualification. And when it ended, when the highways came, and the suburbs spread, and the shopping malls opened, and everyone got their own car, and their own television, and their own private, portable, personalized version of the world, no one really mourned it. Because by then, it had already started to feel like a burden. All that sitting together, all that waiting, all that forced politeness with people you did not choose. But now, decades later, you can feel the shape of what is missing. The milk on the porch, the paper in the driveway, the neighbor who knew your name, the soda jerk who remembered your order, the rhythm of a week that did not require you to decide anything, because the week had already decided for you. It is gone now, and it is not coming back. The milkman is retired. The lunch counters are demolished. The 5 and dime is a parking lot. And the people who remember what it felt like to live that way are getting older, quieter, fewer every year. But maybe that is why we keep talking about it. Why we keep making videos like this one, and watching them late at night, and feeling something we cannot quite name. Because we are not nostalgic for the 1950s, exactly. We are nostalgic for the feeling that the world made sense, that it had a shape, that you knew where you fit inside it. And maybe, just maybe, we are nostalgic for the kind of boredom that forced you to be present, for the slowness that made you notice the weight of a glass milk bottle in your hand, the sound of a screen door slamming, the smell of pot roast drifting through an open window on a Sunday afternoon. The world does not move that way anymore. It cannot. It will not. And maybe that is fine. Maybe we are better off with the speed, the choice, the infinite access to everything all the time. Maybe we do not need the milkman or the party line or the soda fountain. But every now and then, late at night, when the house is quiet and the notifications have stopped, and you are lying in bed scrolling through nothing in particular, you might feel it. That pull, that ache, that sense that something used to be different, slower, smaller, more solid. And you might wonder just for a second what it would feel like to wake up tomorrow and find a glass bottle on your porch, to walk outside and hear the paper boy coming down the street, to know, without checking, that dinner will be at 6 and church will be on Sunday, and the whole week will unfold exactly the way it is supposed to. You will not get that world back. None of us will. But for a few minutes here, we got to visit it. We got to sit in that kitchen, walk down that sidewalk, spin on that soda fountain stool. We got to remember or imagine or pretend. And that somehow is enough. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, consider leaving a like, subscribing if you have not already, and dropping a comment to let me know what you think. I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care of yourself. And maybe, just for tonight, put your phone down a little earlier than usual. Sit with the quiet. See what happens. Good night.